After the death of his father, T'Challa returns home to the African nation of Wakanda to take his rightful place as king. When a powerful enemy suddenly reappears, T'Challa's mettle as king and as Black Panther gets tested when he's drawn into a conflict that puts the fate of Wakanda and the entire world at risk. Faced with treachery and danger, the young king must rally his allies and release the full power of the Black Panther to defeat his foes and secure the safety of his people. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 2018's Black Panther, directed by Ryan Coogler.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Double Feature. Thank you so much for your patience as we went on this giant hiatus. This is the longest one that we've probably been in sort of since we started the podcast, I would dare to say.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I'd say so. Yeah.
With me is my main man, Colin, as always. That's Colin. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be back. You know, I've done a couple of these with Prater, and it was fun and all. But it's nice just to be back, and it's also nice to have to be on the mics with you again, man.
Yeah. I was jonesing for it, man. I'm not gonna lie. You know, things got in the way, life stuff, work stuff, this and that, and some of it was probably just laziness. You know, so
well, also it's the holidays, and I gotta be honest. It'll be 5 years in March. And the longest break we've ever taken is 8 weeks. Yeah, that's kind of nuts. Considering we basically run 3 shows simultaneously. You know,
and we're on different sides of the planet. You know,
right?
Like,
and some people can run 8 or 9 shows, but it's like you only have 1 or 2 days you can record a week to do 3 shows. Kind of crazy. So it's nice to take some time off. You know.
No, it was nice, but it's good to be back. And we are recording this. This will be our last episode of the year, which is wild.
Nice.
So yeah. Look, I guess just up front, I'm going to front load this episode and just say thank you to everyone. Thank you so much for your support throughout the year. It's been amazing. You know, we're always blown away by just the amount of support that we get. You know, why you guys choose to listen to us idiots, I don't know, but
yeah.
We're eternally grateful and gracious for your guys' time. We know it's probably very valuable, so thank you so much. Thank you to the Green Room members especially. Thank you for digging deep into your pockets and donating your hard-earned cash to listen to some bonus episodes and supporting the show. We're absolutely blown away by your support. I am also working on something extra for the bonus members, so I'm kind of like I've started doing sort of like video reviews sort of things exclusively for Green Room members. You know, if you're following us on Facebook on the Alta Party, I sometimes write like letterbox reviews and stuff of things that I've seen. So I was like, I'm just going to spin that off and do it into videos for Green Room members because they're fucking awesome and they deserve more. So
sure,
yeah. I mean,
that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So get this right. I started recording a review for Avatar: The Way of Water, and I fucking accidentally deleted it. And I'm just like, God damn it, man. It's a great start. And you know what? I didn't go back and re-record. I just did like a top 10 episode. So
that's hilarious.
So Green Room members expect a top 10 of 2022 episode coming down your way. That episode actually is going to be available to everybody. And in that episode, I talk about the video reviews going forward. After that episode will be made exclusively available to Green Room members. So that should be available at the same time that this episode is available. So you should be able to watch that episode to see what I put in my top 10.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Cool. Well, I was like, look, I'm going to go ahead and tackle this by myself because Colin probably has not seen 10 new movies this year. So
no,
no,
not at all.
No.
Well, look, I don't even know if I watched 10 movies this year.
God damn it. Jesus Christ. Where do you get your podcasting credentials? Fucking the back streets of India?
Dude, I have been backsliding so hard on watching movies and stuff now. Like I went from the kid at the front of the class of being like, oh, and the shot composition to now I'm the guy in the back going, hey, yeah, show us some tits, ladies.
I refuse to become a Halo podcast. We will not become a Halo podcast.
Yeah, that's all I've been doing is playing Evil Dead the game and Halo and watching Buffy. That's about it.
But yeah, look, again, thank you so much to you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We hope you guys had a very Merry Christmas. We hope you guys have a fantastic New Year. And we'll see you guys next time. See you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. No, we actually have a lot of work to do today. So Colin and I are sitting down to record, obviously, this episode, Black Panther. We are smashing out some Bad Crystal or Breaking Bad podcasts because fuck knows that we are delayed on that season. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And you know what's been amazing, man? We've had people ask us, like different people actually ask us, hey, when when are you guys going to release season 3 of Bad Crystal or Breaking Bad podcast?
Yeah. That was surprising, honestly. Yeah. It was really nice.
It was really nice. It's really awesome to hear that people are, kind of jonesing for it, which is nice. And we're not pulling the taffy or anything. We're not doing this thing of like teasing you guys that like we've got it secretly like holding in a fucking vault, and we're just like, yeah, we're waiting for the hype to drop. No, that's not it at all. We're just really slow at recording these because it's tough. I mean, it's tough to do these giant episodes and bonus episodes and those episodes as well. And those episodes you can only do one day at a time. You can't just binge them because of the way we've kind of specifically modeled that show.
Right.
So yeah, look, keep an eye out on your feed if you are a Breaking Bad fan, if a Bad Crystal fan. You should hopefully. I might drop an update on there, like just a little, hey, it's coming kind of episode. But yeah, Green Room. We're also recording The Evil Dead today, which is nice. After this, 1981, obviously Sam Raimi's what fucking.
You want to say magnum opus because there's
there's a few of those. There's a few of those, and look out for our thoughts on that on the Green Room. So Green Room, if you do want to become a member, head to Midnight Double Feature. Sorry, patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. It's been a minute. Sorry, guys.
Well, it's all in the show notes. You guys,
right? Exactly. It's all in the show notes. But look, without any further ado, we are going back to the well today. We're going back to the MCU well because God knows it's comfortable to be here.
Yeah,
it's very comfortable. And Colin, I remember a couple years ago, I think it might have been during the Infinity War episode. You told me you hadn't seen Black Panther, and I'm not sure if this was your first time watching this movie. But
no, actually,
no. Okay,
no. This was my second time watching it.
Nice. So what kind of what spurned me to sort of like pick this movie was Wakanda Forever, which came out back in November. Obviously we were delayed in recording, so I'm just like, fuck it, I'm not gonna change my pick because I think this is still a solid movie to talk about. And it's still relevant, obviously. So
oh no, something's 2 months old.
yeah, exactly. If you want my thoughts on Wakanda Forever, they're on the after party, they're on my letterbox, whatever. I thought it was a decent sequel. I talk about it in that video, in the top 10 video. Whether it made my top 10 or if it's in the honorable mentions, you're just gonna have to go watch it. Yeah, look, Black Panther 2018, Ryan Coogler, starring Chadwick Boseman. Colin, hit me with your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it for the most part. I wasn't blown away by it. I think it was definitely overhyped. But not overhyped in the way of like, obviously culturally it's more important than the film itself. Like culturally, what this movie coming out and being like, there hadn't been a whole lot of maybe since
Colin's already over here like making sure that he doesn't get beaten by a gang of fucking black people. Jesus Christ,
by a gang of people on Twitter. Right. No, I mean, like culturally, obviously it's a very important movie, but I feel like people were kind of lying to themselves a little bit about just how good of a movie it was. Michael B. Jordan is a great villain. I think the movie really hangs its hat on his head. But Chadwick Boseman is, I don't know, there's a subtlety in T'Challa that's not in a lot of Marvel heroes. And he doesn't go through the whole painful, arrogant transition that Thor goes through. He suffers immense loss like right away. And he's forced to be the Black Panther And even though he gets this great, awesome power, it's not for a good reason. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff behind T'Challa and the Black Panther that a lot of the MCU heroes don't have, where it's like tradition, where it's passed down. So I do enjoy all of that. But I think that as a whole, I like the movie for the most part. Um, I think specifically, what I don't like is that I don't feel, and it's a problem with a lot of MCU movies, is that I don't feel that T'Challa is in any real danger. Like I knew that Michael B. Jordan wasn't going to win and stay Black Panther, and that's what kind of bums me out about these movies sometimes is the stakes are just not there anymore. Even at that time, like obviously I'd seen Infinity War and Endgame before I saw Black Panther, so I knew he was fine. But even so, I feel like he's not going to lose, but the closest thing I feel like I could really tie this movie into that I've seen is almost like Rocky 3. He loses to Mr. T and then he comes back and wins later on. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like I drew a bit of a parallel there. And I do like that. I like him getting this power and getting this title in a different movie. And he's had this since Civil War, I guess. So I don't know the timeline difference between Black Panther and Civil War. I don't know how long it's been.
This takes place pretty much right after Civil War because you've got T'Challa watching, the video of his
footage.
father dying. Yeah.
So I love Winston Duke. I love that guy.
Dude.
He is a fucking beast, man.
I think I'm in love.
I think he would be a fantastic beast for X-Men. Like I would love. He has this obvious size.
Pause right there. I would love to just get all of our episodes and find how many times you say I would like this person to be Beast.
Yes, because it's the one character I'm like, man, they've nailed a lot. They got Wolverine down pretty good. They got Magneto and Professor X. Scott Summers, okay, blah blah blah. But Beast, it's like they never got him down.
You don't like Fraser as Beast,
dude? Kelsey Grammer is okay, but it's so ridiculous watching him in like a short sleeved leather shirt, like jumping through, and it's him on wires and stuff, and it's just very. Yeah. He looks like he came off the set of Cats, he just looks a little weird. But anywho, all in all, I would say it's pretty middle of the road for me. Maybe a slightly bit above average, maybe like a 7.5. Because I do like also kind of the ethical problems that this movie kind of suggests of what the fuck are you doing not telling the rest of the world. Like you could really be helping out a lot of people, and I like the fact that the movie seems to really address that. It is almost like the question of where the fuck has Captain Marvel been this whole time, like it's like where have you been, motherfucker? Like if you're I think that's an MCU problem of these motherfuckers are bad and they're the greatest, and okay, well, where have they been? It's like, oh shit, okay, the Eternals, Captain Marvel, Wakanda. And it's like we have to start figuring out where these places have been because we've dipped into the MCU for the last 30 years, and it's just been, I think probably the farthest back in the MCU is Captain America, and then you get like Ant-Man and shit going on in the 70s and stuff, and then you kind of move forward. But it's like you have all of this time to be like, where have these people been? There were no superheroes before this thing, I mean?
Yeah, the Eternals breaks that pretty much kind of thing. Like it's like they've been around for like centuries. And they've been like directed not to interfere kind of thing. Like the later movies, the later MCU movies are dealing with this sort of thing. Like, well, I'm not going to say dealing. They address them kind of, like, oh, we were told not to interfere with human relations kind of thing.
It's like a through the Watcher, from Marvel Comics. Like he's not allowed to intervene in whatever's going on. But it's a solid movie. I don't think it's Marvel's best movie, but I definitely don't think it's worst. Jesus Christ.
I had to bring it back.
I hate it. I hate it so much because it's like somebody coming in the middle of your thought and just banging a gong. I'm like, oh Jesus!
But I specifically waited for like an opportunity.
I give you props on timing, absolutely. Yeah, but it's a pretty good movie. It's not my favorite MCU, but it's a good middle of the road MCU film, I think.
Okay, that's fair. I think I've had the benefit of sitting with this movie for quite a while. Obviously, it came out in 2018. I saw it opening day, and I liked it opening day. But I was kind of like where you are now, in that it was getting all of this praise, and I was just like, oh, I thought it's just okay.
Hmm.
But I think since then, I've seen it more and more. I keep finding new things that I really kind of like adore about it, and it just kind of like it's slowly rising to my rank, like through the ranks. My favorite MCU movies. It's definitely not in the top five, but I'd say it's a top 10.
Hmm.
Yeah, there are just things that I absolutely adore about this movie, man. I think my one sort of major problem with this movie is that T'Challa is my least favorite character in this movie, and that's
Mm.
that's not to say that Boseman is not amazing. He's absolutely fantastic. He carries himself really well. He feels regal, but he also feels very like lost and not sure what to do and how to move forward. And I think he like carries himself really well. It's just that I think what I just said is more of a testament to how strongly written the supporting characters are,
Hmm.
or strongly acted, may I say. Like, so Winston Duke is just killing it as M'Baku, and my other favorite is Denai Guerrera as Okoye. The moment at the end when she's facing down against Wakabi, and Wakabi says, "You'd kill me, my love," and then she's just like, for Wakanda, without
Mm.
question, and the delivery of the line without question gives me goosebumps every time, every
Right.
time. Um, I think Guerrera also shines in the sequel as well. Like, I think she's got one of the best moments in the sequel. But yeah, I mean, and the other supporting actors, I think Andy Serkis is having the
Oh my
time of his
God.
life in this goddamn
Right.
movie.
I love Andy Serkis. He's such a treat. He
He's
really
such a
elevates
treat.
just about everything that he's in.
Oh
If
yeah.
you start thinking about it, I just rewatched The Prestige, which he's in for half a minute.
Hmm.
But the Michael Caine line I can't get out of my head of if I can see you do it, then the blokes
Right.
so can the blokes in seats 3 and 4, whatever the fuck he yells at him. Oh my God, I love that movie. But yeah, I love
It's so
Andy
good.
Serkis. Always elevates all the shit he's in.
I'm trying to like think of. I've been lately. I've been trying to think of loopholes of how like we can go back and cover movies that we've already covered, like The Prestige and Whiplash. And I'm just like, no, there's so many other fucking movies out there, man, that we
There
got to
are,
cover.
but I always think, it's there's plenty of time for a reevaluation.
Oh yeah. Oh
Uh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Um, Midnight Double Feature Rewind coming coming soon.
Yeah, I said that. No, I said this about Shaun of the Dead on it. Shaun of the Dead, by the way, 14th episode we ever did. So, no, I'm not doing Shaun of the Dead. No, I
Well,
didn't
I'm
pick
just
it.
like,
I'm not doing it.
that's because you're always sucking off Edgar Wright, dude. I'm just like, God damn it, I'm
Hey,
over it.
man,
I feel
nothing
like a
wrong with
little,
sucking the best.
I feel like a little cuck, like just sitting in the corner while Edgar Wright bangs my girlfriend over there.
Yeah, and Edgar Wright slept with your prom date. Edgar Wright slept with your prom date. Little Always Sunny reference for you.
Yep, of course. By the way, the It's Always Sunny podcast is absolutely brilliant, man. Like,
It's great.
they go off on tangents like we are now, and
Yeah.
I can't remember but how it came up, but they were talking about Love Actually, and like how the title of like they were wondering what the title Love Actually means. Like, they've never seen the movie, and they were just like, it's love, actually.
Yeah,
Actually, it's love.
Glenn Howerton is a
He's my
Nashville
favorite.
treasure.
He's my
He's
favorite.
incredible. Like I
Yeah.
love Charlie Day, I love Rob McElhenney and Caitlin Olsen and
Yeah.
DeVito, but I don't know, the McPoyles, Rickety Cricket, and Dennis, really, those guys are on a different level.
Yeah.
Those guys, they're out there breaking the ice in front of the
There's
ship.
something about Glenn Howerton's delivery and just how straight he is, but he can also be, I don't know, like there's something about it. But
Oh,
anyway,
he's great. He's great.
but yeah, I was talking about the supporting characters in this movie. Killmonger is awesome, I think, and like you said, he brings up all these really wild moral issues that haven't been tackled in the MCU before. This movie was a cultural moment. Whether you like it or not, it absolutely was. I remember being, I think I talked about this in the Infinity War episode way back when we recorded that episode, man. But I remember being in the United States in 2018, it was just before this movie came out. It was January, and I went to a cinema. I can't remember what I watched. It might have been The Shape of Water, but I remember there being a kid with his dad, both African American, and the kid was just like, I can't wait to see that. And like this kid's like 8 years old, 9 years
Yeah.
old, and I'm just like, this is exactly what that movie's going for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it's predatory. It's just it's just the way it is. Like that kid has not been represented on the screen before. Like he hasn't seen himself. Like he hasn't had the chance to be like, man, that guy looks like me. I want to aspire to be like that guy. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like that's awesome, man. It's great to see, and I think Chadwick Boseman really embodies that spirit really well. Like he is someone that you really want to kind of look up to, and it sucks that he was taken too soon. I think every role that he's kind of embodied really um, contributed to what he was going for. Like there's another movie that he was in with Viola Davis a couple years ago called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. He was nominated for Best Actor in that, and he fucking killed it, man. Like this is a guy
I
who
never
was
even heard of
just
that.
dude. It's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it's a Netflix movie.
Hmm.
But it's yeah, man, yeah. Just do you remember where we were when we found out? We both found out together.
Yeah, I was sitting right here.
Yeah,
I was literally sitting in the same spot I am right now,
yeah.
and we were recording for Breaking Bad.
Yeah. We were doing a Breaking Bad a special episode. It was with Floyd Fry and Carlos Freitas, both friends of the show. And we ended up we stopped recording. Carlos checks his phone and he's like, "Guys, I have some
Mm-hmm.
wild news for you." And I'm just like,
Dude,
"No."
it came up in the last 5 minutes of recording that episode, and I think you can hear it like a football. It just gets like something spiked in the and it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, okay, all right, like
insane,
it frazzled me completely.
insane. Yeah, totally shook us. But yeah, man, I also there is another thing that I really love about this movie, and this is something that I kind of like picked up during multiple rewatches. Is like the idea of like tradition versus progression. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
this like Killmonger is very traditional, and you got T'Challa wanting to be a bit more progressive. Like he wants to honor the tradition, but like he also wants to uh kind of move things on. And I think the score also really talks about that. Like it's weird to say that a score talks about something, but Ludwig Göransson's Ludwig Göransson's score won the Oscar for this, and it does have this like beats of like like obviously the traditional drums and stuff like that, and that's fantastic. But it also has like this really I guess what's the word contemporary sort of like hip hop beat that comes into it, and both of them are sort of like at odds with each other, but they work so well, and I think that really ties into the whole traditional versus progression element of this movie that I really enjoyed. But
Right.
yeah, I don't think there's any other Marvel movie that I can say that about, and I think this movie does that really really well. I think the action sequences are great, especially the one in Korea. The CG is a little dicey. That is something that was, brought up by a lot of people. A lot of people who don't love this movie. Um, one possible explanation for that might be because they were working on Infinity War at this time. It
Mm-hmm.
might have just been we're stretching ourselves thin. We had to give this to our B team.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. That's all speculation. Can't really speak to that. So
Sorry,
yeah,
we had to give Downey $180 million.
right. Sorry, we had to give Downey the entire studio.
Yeah,
Jesus.
sorry. It's like, all right, now thank you for all your hard work, Mr. Downey. He hands in an envelope, and he's like, and he like drops his pants and wiggles his ass at Kevin Feige and makes him kiss it. He's like, yeah, you're welcome, Kevin, and walks off.
Dude, you know who else I love in this movie? Martin Freeman. Martin
Mhm.
Freeman, every time he just when they're in that casino, by the way, which is a gorgeous sequence. Well, I can't wait to talk about that. But like, yeah, Martin Freeman he's never bad. He's just always awesome.
Yeah, he's always good, even when he pops up in little things like this. I like him a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Let's dive into this. That's
Let's do it.
enough of the foreplay. So no MCU logo. I love when they do this. They just cold open, no MCU logo. We're just in it, and that's one of my favorite things. And it starts off with this story, right? Baba, tell me a story, right? And they talk about the history of Wakanda, the importance of vibranium. It's up to you whether you want to decide whether you love narration or not. You know, I
Right,
know a lot of
right.
people don't, but I love this intro because for some reason it really reminds me of the Lion King. Like it just like there's a lot of like Lion King references or I guess Dreamtime stories. If you want to get sort of like Aboriginal um, sort of storytelling in there. Um, but I really love the way that this sequence is put together. Like it's this
It has a very good like natural kind of
like
flow.
a flow. Yeah, I love the
Everything
way that we see
evolves
the
into the next.
wars. Yeah, right. The conflict of human history is fantastic. We get the importance of the Black Panther, what he means to the people of Wakanda. Yeah, it's a fantastic opening sequence. I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it a lot. I know, kind of as a rule of thumb, people are like, "Oh, if your movie has to have this at the beginning, it's a sign of a weak film." And I'm like, traditionally, maybe, um, but I think that it's not. There's not it's not. I don't like it when people. It's just like, oh, just because it's here, it's automatically a weak sign. Like some movies can pull these off really well. Some movies pull them off extremely good, or they start with a flashback or something like that. I always enjoy these. It's just a bit of a setup, because
Me too.
it is a lot going on, especially for um trying to set up a whole country's mythology in 30 seconds. They do a
Yes,
pretty good job.
that that was something that I was going to mention. So while Civil War did introduce us to the character of Black Panther, this movie has to do a lot of heavy lifting in terms of explaining what Wakanda is and why it's so important to I guess the fabric of the MCU.
Hmm.
Um, and they kick it off so well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you ever watch a show called Static Shock? Was that ever on in
No, but I've
Australia?
definitely heard of it.
Oh, it's great, man. There's some pretty cool Static Shock episodes where he goes to Africa, and there is like an African superhero, but it's not Black Panther. It's something kind of like Black Panther, but it always makes me think of it with this episode and watching what's his name, Virgil Hawkins in that show, Static Shock. It's such a good. I love Phil Lamar. He does the voiceover shit for that show. And I watched Black Panther, and like I remember me and my friend David Streeter I worked with. He was this bartender at my old job, and he was black. And he would send me like Static Shock jokes and stuff. And somebody was like, "Oh, Black Panther! It's the first black superhero." And David sent me a text. It was Static Shock with his arms crossed and his eyebrow up. And I was like, "Oh, that's so funny." I'm like, but then there's Blade, Luke Cage. Like there's so it just goes back
Yeah.
to back. But like Black Panther's like, okay, you've got your multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Well, it's not just Black Panther being the first superhero. It's the movie talks about the black experience as well, and I think that's
Hmm.
really important. Whereas like Blade doesn't cover any
He's
of
just a
that.
vampire hunter who happens to
Right.
be black. Right.
Exactly. Someone wrote something which was really cool, and I really like the way that this is put. This is from a Deep Focus review. It's called they wrote Black Panther calls for active participation in the human race beyond the illusion of borders, skin color, religion, or nationality. And I
Hmm.
was like, if you're gonna make a superhero movie and base it around a cultural movement, I think that is the best way forward.
Right. Right.
That's such a great sort of like North Star to guide your movie by.
Well, yeah, because I think Wakanda is in a very odd place of like where America was during World War II before Pearl Harbor. They're like, hey, hands off. Like, if it's not directly affecting us, we're not going to go get ourselves involved. And you can
Right.
only do that realistically for so long. You can only ignore your neighbor's fire until it's touching your yard.
Yeah, that's a fantastic analogy for sure. By the way, Oppenheimer next July.
Mm.
We'll see. We'll see how
Yeah,
that
yeah.
goes.
I know you've been teething for that movie really bad.
God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I might read the book, but you know how long it takes me to read a book.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
all right, 1992, Oakland. Right, we're with Njobu and Zuri. Um, this is awesome because like we don't get many firearms like this. Like like they kind of like it looks like they're getting ready to conduct an ambush of sorts.
Hmm.
And Jobu gets sort of scared by something, looks outside, and Zuri says, "Is it the feds?" And I like this, man, because like you're kind of like doing a little bit of setup on like who these two are and what they're about without really doing it, without really doing like spouts of exposition.
Right, right.
But the idea is like that. Yeah, these two are. I'm not going to say extremists, but activists, maybe.
Militant,
Um,
you know?
Militant. Yeah, that's a good word for it. But then they get a knock on the door. It's these two Grace Jones looking chicks. And Jobu just freezes, right? Like he knows what the go
Right,
is.
right.
He's just like, oh shit, like they're not gonna knock again. And they walk right in. I love like them banging their spears. It goes dark, and then the light turns on again, and there's King T'Chaka. It's
Oh,
good
dude,
stuff.
I gotta be honest. I want like a Black Panther prequel movie with T'Chaka. Like, there's
Yes,
so many stories because this actor, for one thing, is he's got me. He's got me immediately. Like, as soon as he took the helmet off and he had this steely resolve in his eyes that was warm, but also like I will fuck you up. But he does feel like I don't know, a bit of like a younger, smaller Forrest Whitaker, but then also like the T'Chaka, like I know from Civil War and stuff. Like, he does genuinely feel like a younger version of him, but
yeah,
he's
it's
got this
fantastic.
like power that I felt from Forrest Whitaker in a lot of his roles. Just this like power behind the eyes, and I love this guy. This is was such an interesting way to pull everybody back in, like right after like opening narration and shit. Like, I love the design of his helmet, the gold that's in it. Like, dude, I kind of prefer this to T'Challa.
Yeah, I was also pretty captured by this character. I think the way he really kind of holds himself and speaks to, like you think that he's about to reprimand and Jobu, and he does eventually, but like I just love that he, gives him a smile and a hug, and he's like, "Hey, let me see how you doing," right? And then he kind of like he fills in Jobu in on what's happening back in Wakanda. So Ulysses Claw, right, returning from Age of Ultron, which is Andy Serkis's character. He's a terrorist. He's blown up some stuff near the border. Um, it's apparently he had someone on the inside, right? Um, I want you to look me in the eyes and tell me why you betrayed Wakanda. Like, there's all
Ooh,
this intrigue,
right.
right, in spycraft, which I really dig. And then he says, "Tell him who you are." And Zuri in the background, I love it. Zuri, son of Badu, and he shows him his lip thing, his lip tat.
Right, and with no hesitation, he like
Right.
immediately is like just drops
Yeah,
cover. Whew.
it's good stuff. It's good stuff. But then, yeah, like this, I like this. I like that we don't see this interaction fully at the moment. We kind of return to it later. Um, like the actual murder of Njobu.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, they kind of leave it up to like you don't
Right.
really know. It's left very open ended.
Right. But we do cut to Eric outside, which is nice. Like, we don't know who the importance we don't know the importance of this kid yet. We just
Yes,
see that
yeah.
he's noticing things. He looks up, he sees the ship flying off. And then we get the MCU logo, right? Like what I love about this opening sequence before the logo is that it really kind of hints to the importance of this story. Like it's like we need to tell you this before the logo because it's that important. We need to get
Hmm.
this out there, and then the logo appears, and it's awesome. I love the logo, and we're meeting Okoye, we're meeting T'Challa. Talk to me about this sequence. This is kind of like our first. It's not a really big action scene. It's just kind of like a rescue of Nakia, who says she doesn't want to be rescued. But I love, don't freeze.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I love the prep that they have for this mission, like the actual little map that is like these black grain. Like, I love the aesthetic they have of these like black grains of sand.
Right.
Like, when they do, like they have these little like he picks up the truck and the thing is being like built and moving at the same time, and I was like, holy shit, that is really cool. Um, but there is something like a little weird just about, I don't know, I like how lax they are right before, like it did not strike me as a relationship of a bodyguard and a king, because they're like telling wisecracks and stuff, and then it's like, all right, yeah, but let's go kill 6 or 7 people. Like it's weird. It would be like Master Chief like telling people knock knock, like what the fuck, like that was a little bit weird to me, but it's not out of place for the MCU. That is something that is always, I think the MCU has tried to be a little bit more on the funny side, whereas DC
Yeah.
was trying a bit more on the dark side, and that's never really struck with me. Like there's been some funny moments, but sometimes I think they just push too hard, and
I
this
thought
was
about
not
that.
my kind of flavor.
I thought about that, and I wondered if it was if it's maybe because, and this is just me kind of like stretching a little bit, whether T'Challa and Okoye sort of grew up together. They kind of had that relationship. I thought, just
Hmm.
kind of like jokey. Like this is a criticism that's been leveled towards the MCU for so many years by so many
Right.
people. But like this one didn't really rub me the wrong way because like there's a relationship here with these two that where we haven't yet seen, right? That they've kind of intentionally left out.
Hmm.
But I just feel like that they were raised together. That was just my kind of like feeling. Like this
Right.
is yeah.
I thought that too, and then it was weird seeing Prince Jobu talking to his own brother and asking for permission for James to be in the room. And I was like, I was expecting, and maybe that's intentional. Maybe they're like, yeah, this prince or this king of Wakanda isn't as strict. He's just not as cutthroat, maybe as his dad was at that age. This is a younger
Mm,
Black Panther, a little bit more lean, like not always having to bend the knee to the queen and shit.
yep. Yep. Um. Yeah, and then fucking, I guess the Black Panther fucks them up, right? I love them kind of like walking into the jungle and shining their light above, and there he is, just fucking cat like. Oh, it's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, I gotta admit though, I like the Black Panther. I think the original costume design. He's got that like Dracula kind of like thing around the
Oh,
back of his
okay, yeah,
neck.
like the
I
hood.
I love that. I love
Mm.
the way that looks. I hate that they cut that out, but
Yeah,
that's just me.
I guess the MCU was just like Edna Mode. He was like no capes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I mean, I admit, yeah, capes are kind of silly, but it's just like I kind of like that thing.
I think also, yeah, I'm just watching his movements here in this scene, and he just looks like he looks a little more sleek without the cape, a little
Oh,
like
for sure.
a little less Batman, maybe.
Right. And I think that's got to be intentional where it's like, okay, this he already kind of looks like Batman to an extent, just pointy ears,
Sure,
black costume, very generic, but if you were to just get rid of the cape, you would solve a lot of problems.
sure, yeah, absolutely. They straight up kill these guys, by the way, which is
Yeah. Yeah, which is great. It's and yeah, that was kind of interesting. I was like, holy shit. Yeah, I love that like people watch Batman movies and they're like, oh no, he didn't kill those guys. Like, well, and this one's just like, no, we're not gonna draw any weird lines in the sand. We're just gonna show you straight up some murder.
yeah, it's like there's no technicalities here, right? Like sometimes people. I remember when Batman vs Superman came out and reading some people's like analysis of whether Batman killed, these goons, and it's just like, no, the bullets weren't on that trajectory, and I'm just like, fuck off,
Yeah,
man. The car exploded.
right. Right, yeah. It's like
uh,
some of these you're like, maybe he pulled his punches, maybe. But there's no way Black Panther went through here and did all this shit. And there's not someone who like dies from brain swelling 6 weeks
right,
later in a hospital. Like it's the problem with a lot of these movies. But it's funny to apply that, but it's like so like ridiculous. But it's so funny to do that to these movies and apply that real life filter.
right, exactly. Um, Again, man, just like Okoye, for me, just one of my favorite characters in this entire movie. Like when she goes up to these women and she says, "You will speak nothing of this day," and then she just kind of like gives them that little smile of just like, "All right, get out of here,
Yeah, yeah.
get moving." She's just so lovable. She was in The Walking Dead. I didn't know that until relatively recently. She plays Michonne.
Michonne, yeah, she's
Yeah,
the one with the samurai sword or the katana.
yep, that's it. And then we're into this entrance of Wakanda, this new location for the MCU, one that will become one that we'll return to pretty frequently, actually. In Infinity War. Um, I love this entrance. I really do. Like this music that plays here with the vocalist. Like, I'm not gonna repeat it, but it's awesome. It's fantastic.
Sure, sure, yeah. I know what you mean. Like it definitely. I feel like it gets the point across that they're trying to make, like musically.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I here's one of my minor criticisms about this movie. I wish we spent more time in Wakanda. There's a
Hmm.
scene where I know most of the film is set in Wakanda, but we're kind of like we're in specific locations in Wakanda. So like we're at we're at the palace, we're at M'Baku's kind of like mountain, right? Like what I love to see, what I would love to see more of is, and the sequel doesn't do this either, when there's a scene where T'Challa's walking with Nakia, and at the end as well, like through that little marketplace, and it looks like everyone's, doing their thing, and the city's kind of like doing their thing. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of the people of Wakanda and just like how life is. You know, just give me more of this city. Like instead of why like instead of showing me why these, like why they're so rich and powerful, like these giant buildings, what have you, the monorails and fucking all
Hmm.
that shit. I
Sure.
want to see like the ground level shit.
Right, right. Yeah, I think it's also kind of a problem that the Dark Knight trilogy faces, except for Batman Begins. Like, I mean, and maybe I guess a little bit of the end of the Dark Knight Rises. You don't see shit for Gotham. Dark Knight is basically a playground. Dark Knight Rises is kind of the same thing, but you don't have like I don't know. I don't feel like you're really in the nitty gritty of the 9 to 5 day.
Yeah, absolutely. We meet Queen Ramonda, played by Angela Bassett, who's probably going to be nominated for an Oscar this year for Wakanda Forever. She's fucking awesome in that movie, dude. Like,
Oh, that's good.
kills it.
That's cool. I have heard a lot of I've heard mixed things, but I've heard a lot of good things about her specifically.
Yeah, and she's fantastic, and we get Shuri as well. Um, I love Shuri asking whether he froze, and
Yeah.
Okoye's just like a deer in headlights. We get more of the relationship between Shuri and T'Challa. Now I'm not going to spoil any of the sequel, but I do like that this relationship between these two, between brother and sister, is well set up here.
Hmm.
Because Coogler was dealt a shit hand with the sequel, right? Obviously, so kind of had to make do with certain things that he set up in this movie going forward. And I think this
Right.
is one of the stronger parts is this relationship between T'Challa and Shuri. Then we're at this museum in London, right? The Museum of Great Britain. We're introduced to Eric Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan. Uh,
A collection of other people's shit. No. I'm just
yes, yes.
kidding.
This is such a great scene, I think, man. Like I love this. Like he's just kind of like walking around and admiring these artifacts, but he's also just like, you guys just took this shit. You
Right.
guys just literally took this shit and hung it and charged people to go see it. It's you feel this guy's like rage and frustration. You really do feel for him a little bit.
Oh yeah, and I think there's something interesting about Killmonger as a villain that Um, I think up until this point, the MCU had a lot of problems with their villains, and it was just like, okay, you can't just be evil for the sake of being evil. You can't just want to destroy the planet just to destroy the planet. Like you got to start having some sound, reasoning with these characters. And I think Killmonger is when they really started to kind of correct that.
Definitely, absolutely. He spikes I guess the museum staff lady's coffee, and
Hmm.
in walks fucking Andy Circus, man, with that wild tattoo on the back of his
Yeah.
neck, and he's just again, man, he looks like he's having the time of his life in this role, and it's a shame that he had to go out in this movie, but I would have loved to see so much more of this character. It might become eventually like too much of it is, you know it's too much of a good thing. So he might only be effective in small doses, but like he is having a blast, man. Like the way he kind of like spins and pulls out the gun is just, oh, what a great reveal. he just straight up executes people in this movie, which
Hmm.
I enjoy. It's really refreshing for an MCU film, I think.
No, yeah, absolutely. And well, and this part actually feels like extremely like heisty. You know, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool actually. Like, I like the feeling of this that it's well calculated and well set up.
Right, exactly. But they're here for this axe, which is pure vibranium. We also get to see Andy Serkis's hand, which, if you've seen Age of Ultron, was sliced off by Ultron.
Hmm.
Um, it's connectivity that doesn't really. It's good connectivity, like it's not like remember his arm? Yeah, we got a robotic arm, but that arm actually feeds into the plot, right? Like that's what Martin Freeman's character is asking him about. He's like, "How the hell did you get that weapon?"
Right.
It's something that I think Coogler and company and the writers really kind of like thought of, like in terms of like how are we going to incorporate his arm? How are we going to incorporate this in the story? And I really enjoyed that. Um, but yeah, they make off with the weapon. Um, Again, in a really cool scene. Just I dig this scene a lot in terms of just introducing us to villain A and villain B. It's fantastic
No, yeah, it's a good setup, and it shows you who they are and most of what their intentions are just very quickly, and then we move on. You know.
for sure. And then we're at this challenge scene, which essentially is I love again the traditional element of this movie. Um, it's the right to become the Black Panther, right? I mean, it's it's the right for other villages or tribes of Wakanda to challenge the throne, which is awesome. I really
I
dig this, man.
I like that. I guess the intention is just to make sure that it's not just some fucking idiot who gets it. You
Right.
know, just because
It's
they're
not
related.
unopposed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But like, you look, this is awesome. Like you really feel like the grandiosity of this. Man, like the colors of their outfits is fantastic. I love like them going through each and every sort of tribes and like the border tribe will not challenge today. Like I love it. I dig it. I dig it a lot.
Hmm.
So they strip T'Challa of his Black Panther powers. Oh no, wait, do they do that? Yes, they do that first, and then they ask who's challenging. And then, oh my god, I love this so much, dude. Bearfire! Bearfire! Oh, it's awesome. It's fucking sick. Them coming out of the cave, it's awesome, dude. Like you really feel the um, fuck, what tribe is it? The Mountain Tribe.
I think so. Sorry, I'm not quite there to that spot yet.
Yeah. So, but you know who I'm talking about. There's the Merchant Tribe, the River Tribe. Um, it's oh god, it's so sick. They look so
Oh yeah.
badass, dude.
Sorry, I was watching Shuri when she raises her hand and acting like she's going to challenge for the throne. She's like, "Hey, this corset sucks. Can I take this off, please?"
Yeah, I mean, like, because if you're a kid, like, that's exactly how you'd feel. You're just like, can we just fucking go home, dude? But I love this is M'Baku's sorry, the Mountain Tribe, right? So M'Baku makes sort of like a speech here. He's like, we have watched and listened from the mountains. This man scoffs at tradition, right? M'Baku's all about tradition. He's all about keeping Wakanda the same, the way it is. And again, this is just the movie wrestling with the idea of tradition versus progression and whether one is better than the other, or if it's, if you should attempt to be a combination of both. But um, yeah, this is awesome, man. So they get into it, right? This whole scuffle, um, really well shot, really well choreographed, sort of like fight sequence here. Um, and
Oh, the
M'Baku
Jabari
yields.
tribe.
Yes, the Jabari tribe. Jesus Christ. Who scoffs at tradition?
Who
He's
can't
so
even keep
good.
his own dad safe? I'm like, well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not quite fair.
Well, I mean, terrorists.
Yeah, right.
Xeno.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
a huge international conspiracy. I don't think I love. He's like, you understand the death of your king was just a small ploy and a chance to dissolve the Avengers, right? Like, I'm not saying whatever, that guy died, but like it was an international conspiracy to end like public
M'Baku doesn't
safety.
strike me as someone who cares about the particulars, though.
Right. Well, he's like, yeah, because fuck it, it's not about Wakanda, so what do I care?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like for him, I guess it's more about like that's the affairs of the outsiders, right? Why the fuck do I give a shit?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, this is awesome. This fight, and it ends up with M'Baku yielding, uh, and T'Challa is crowned the new king, the new Black Panther. We didn't talk about Forrest Whitaker. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's Forrest.
Yeah, he's. But anytime I think of like newer Forrest Whitaker, all I can think is like, give up the dream. Like that's all I can think of. Save the dream. Yeah, that's all I can think of now, and I hate that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like, and I like the idea of Saul Guerrero, but yeah, they do I don't know. It's weird, but he's cool in this. I always like seeing Forrest Whitaker. It's just been a while.
He's never bad, right? Did you ever watch The
Yeah,
Shield with Michael Chiklis?
I have not.
Okay, he's in that. He's got a pretty solid role.
Yeah. Well, I love that T'Challa gets him with the leg grip. You know, you gotta work on your grapple.
Yeah, man, you gotta work on the grapple.
Jimmy, you want to bring that up?
Maybe spend some time in the octagon. You know, maybe
Jimmy,
spend some time in the
Jimmy. No, yeah,
no, dude, you fucked it up. Pull that shit up, Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie, pull that shit up.
Jamie,
bring that up. What the fuck?
Whatever. Bring it up. Jeez. Pull it up.
Jamie, pull that shit up.
Yeah, pull it up. No, yeah, I like that. I like the fact that it's not just like straight physical, just blows. It's actual like wrestling. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. This I really dig. So when you become the Black Panther, you go to what's this plane called again? This, I guess, ancestral plane, right? I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, for lack of a better, if that's not it, it should be. But yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, this is gorgeous, man. Like the I guess the Northern Lights look of it, and but the idea of it is awesome, right? Like the fact that you have to meet with your forefathers or these people who are important to you. And I don't want to spoil the sequel. The sequel goes into the ancestral plane as well. And you do find out more information about how the ancestral plane sort of works. But I do dig the idea of like if you become the new king, you go to the ancestral plane and speak to someone who is important to you. Someone who needs to give you guidance in terms of like how you're supposed to lead. And I love that for T'Challa, it's his father, right? For T'Challa's lost. He has no idea how to lead. And I dig T'Chaka just straight up going, man, you're a good man with a good heart, and it's hard for a good man to be king. I love this idea of if you're a king, you need to make tough choices. You need to make tough decisions. This talks about politics. This talks about the idea of leading and how difficult it is to lead and how hard it is to make decisions sometimes. And that most of the decisions you make won't be in the best interests of everyone. This is awesome, man. This whole sort of speech. What do you think about this?
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. It does remind me actually, because I've been reading the Halo novels, and there's a pretty cool moment in one of them where somebody dies, and the Master Chief asks his trainer, he's like, I had people that were leading underneath me, and I lost them, and the trainer goes, well, it is acceptable to spend lives to basically get something, but to get an objective done to claim a victory. But it is not okay to waste those lives. And it's like, the lives are there. It's not something that that you should just be flippant about. But that's kind of why they're there. It's a dark thing, but it's there for a reason.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But then we kind of move into the sequence that I was talking about. Something that I want to see more of is a street level of Wakanda, and it's a conversation between Nakia and T'Challa. And Nakia is very much of the view that we should be helping other people. We have all of these resources. We're sitting on a fucking gold mine.
Mm-hmm.
But T'Challa as king, he says, well, no, we're going to be exploited. Secrecy is why we're so successful. And I love I love these two ideas coming together, right? Like this is, in essence, to bring it down to its basic roots, a superhero movie, right? It's all about morality and values. And I think this speaks to that 100%. Boseman doesn't need to be in the Black Panther suit for this movie to kind of push its superhero sort of, I'm not going to say tropes, but storytelling. It's just this conversation about we should use the vibranium for good and
Mm-hmm.
not selfish purposes. Really
Right,
dig it.
like he says, when we're waging war in other countries has never been our way.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, just getting some water there. We meet with Wakabi, right? He's kind of like this rhinoceros farmer, I guess.
I take the horns as an aphrodisiac.
Yeah. And then we kind of, yeah. Ulysses Claw has been spotted in Korea, right? Like this whole thing. We're introduced to, oh, dude. Shuri gets her sort of like Q moment. Q from like Bond, which is like,
Yeah.
Mr. Bond, let me show you your gadgets.
Yeah.
This is the Aston Martin V12 Vanquish. All that shit,
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I think she's a good choice for taking over Black Panther because it's like obviously she has the brains, but now you've got to kind of I don't know. You don't really see her exhibit like like you said. It'd be like Q becoming James Bond. It's like, well, he's brilliant. Like he can do it, but it's like I want to see how they do that. That'll be interesting to see in the next one.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Sneakers.
Yeah.
It's so good. Just her face. Sneakers. And then we get the choosing of the suit, which is always awesome. I don't think the MCU does this enough. Like the choosing of the suit kind of thing. Like it's always
Mm-hmm.
awesome. It's just such a reliable trope to lean on. It's fantastic. And then this is cool, man. Like the the kinetic energy, the suit kind of like fighting back is sick.
Right.
Really dig it.
Right, yeah, like it having this automatic, like almost like a chameleon, this automatic like survival response is pretty cool. I like that.
It's awesome, and I love that the suit is contained in the necklace. Like,
I'm not gonna lie,
you don't dig that?
I'm getting fucking tired of it at this point. Like, I think the part that cracked me up was watching Endgame and how many people like would land or come out and then their face would just like, and it would just go away and come back on a whim. And I'm like, I get it, like, because it solves a lot of problems of we need to see this movie star's face, but we also need to get the characters we want to be able to change like intermittently. I do miss like Michael Keaton ripping off the bat helmet at the end of Batman Returns. He's like, look, we're the same guy, split down the middle,
nuts.
Like,
yeah. Let's get nuts,
guys. I got 2 jobs, working here and I'm working at Bed Bath & Beyond. Put my son through NYU so he can explore his bisexuality, become a DJ.
My son's thank you for asking. But my son's bisexual, by the way. So.
Yeah, I love Michael Keaton and other guys. Well, I love him in everything. He's great.
I think the other guys, he just unlocks this level of comedy that I've never seen before from him, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. He's like, all right, guys, big day's here. The bath mats are in, and everybody starts flipping. He goes, also, we had a rapist out in Hyde Park. Oh, wait, sorry, that's my other job. But do walk in pairs, though. Like,
dude, when he gives Will Ferrell back his gun, and he's like, you might want to, the wooden gun. He's like, you might want to. It looks like someone went to the trouble of putting linseed oil or something.
Yeah,
you might want to send him a thank you note.
Some kind of pine. Yeah,
it's so good. I need to rewatch that, dude. It's
I
so
watched
good.
that the other day. It's just fucking hilarious.
It's so good, man. Hope you like prison food and penis. All right, we're in Korea, right? This sort of like underground club. Dude, Okoye looks so awkward with the wig. Like she fucking hates
Oh
the thing.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe and Boondock Saints look more natural with a wig on.
I've never seen that movie, but I know exactly what you're referencing. Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty infamous. Yeah, it's okay.
yeah,
It hasn't aged as well as I thought it would.
sure. They go into this club. You get All the Stars, which was this big song by The Weeknd. It was huge. It was on the
It's
soundtrack.
dated the fuck out of this movie. I hate shit like that, dude.
Yeah.
It's dated the fuck out of it.
Oh yeah. Can I just say how gorgeous this scene is? Like, just in terms of like lighting, like this lighting is brilliant.
Is this like the room in Inception when Leo's like
Oh, I
looking up
see
and the
it
water
at the
comes like
beginning.
blasting through? Like it almost looks just like it, just in a different kind of shading or
I
lighting.
see it. I wonder. You know what? We have the internet at our fingertips, and we're not gonna do anything
Well,
about
I
it.
bet you it's probably. I mean, the things Nolan did to that room, it probably, him. He's like, yeah, it's got to be built from the ground up, mate.
Yes, we need to nuke from
Yeah.
orbit.
I want 6 orca whales with their blowholes outside the window, ready to blow in at the moment's notice. They're out there like tickling the.
I want 20 million Japanese extras in that city, so I can kill them all.
Yeah.
So I can nuke them.
I need to get this 100% accurate.
Yes. Let me build a time machine and go back to Dunkirk.
Yeah. I won't tell anybody about what happens. I just want to watch. But yeah,
Guy's a nutcase, but he's a fucking genius.
Yeah. Oh, and Martin Freeman's here.
Yes, and Martin Freeman's here. I just love that he looks up, like that little kind of that shot of him going behind the pole, and he notices T'Challa. It's just like, oh, what the fuck are you doing, T'Challa?
Right. He almost feels like. Is it Jeffrey Wright in Casino Royale?
Yes.
He almost it almost feels like that kind of thing.
Much appreciated, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. He's such a good actor.
He's so good, man. Jeffrey Wright. I was watching Game Night the other day. Have you seen Game Night with Jason Bateman and?
No.
No. Oh, it's good, man. It's good comedy. It's solid. Definitely check it out. But anyway, they're both here for Claw, right? This is a CIA operation. Martin Freeman's here, and we get our Stan Lee cameo, man.
Yeah, I thought that was a very subtle one, very small one, very quick,
very small one. But I dig it nonetheless. Claw arrives with his entourage.
I like how Claw always looks like he's just got out of a wedding.
Yeah,
like he just constantly looks like he just left like a British wedding.
He's so. Oh man, the way Circus just moves in this movie is brilliant, man. Like he gets out of that SUV, he kisses that Asian lady that Nakia was talking to, the Korean lady. He just straight up kisses her. He walks through, like they all walk through the metal detector. Obviously, they're all carrying because the metal detector is just going off.
Yeah,
and yeah, man, this is. he's got a SoundCloud link. I love that he turns around and he's like, "Hey Dave, can you make sure he gets the tape? Gets the link to the tape."
Yeah, I love his Lincoln beard.
Yeah. Also, Circus's voice is brilliant, man. Like when he's talking to Martin Freeman here, it's just that really kind of like without saying like Stallone,
Right. Yeah, and those piercing kind of eyes, like he's definitely got that look that feels very natural, in that look.
For sure. And then we kick off, right?
Okay, that's enough. He shakes his arm off of it, like I was like rubbing Martin Freeman. Okay, that's enough. Like that's hilarious.
Claw pulls out his penis. I mean, vibranium. And then we kind of like kick off, right? This is a big action sequence. I want to take this in sort of like two steps. So we'll just talk about this kind of like fight here at the casino, and then we'll go out to the streets. So this is awesome, man. Just the hand-to-hand close combat stuff, that especially what Okoye is doing with the spear. The music, like Ludwig Göransson's score here, is fantastic with the chop 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 chop. it's awesome. Like it drops out all the dramatical, violent stuff, and then it goes in and focuses on Okoye, which is brilliant. And we kind of like we get a one-er, which is awesome. You know, we get a one-shot, single-shot kind of like scene. Obviously, it's all sort of like stitched together, and you know, it's digital trickery, but it still looks awesome nonetheless, right? I thought it was awesome.
Right, yeah, like I like the scene in general because it gives me Kill Bill vibes, you know.
Oh
It gives
yes,
me
yeah,
Inception vibes, giving me a lot. No, and I enjoy what's going on here as well, but it definitely doesn't hurt that it's giving me vibes of some really really good movies.
yeah, for sure. And then we're out on the street in Tokyo, which is sorry, Tokyo. Fucking,
Fucking
is it
racist.
Busan?
It's Korea.
Yeah,
No,
but
I'm just kidding.
Busan's in Korea.
I'm just,
Jesus Christ!
I don't
think
know if
it's
they
Busan.
ever. I don't know if they ever said specifically.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's Busan.
All right,
Um,
racist.
it's Chinatown here in Sydney.
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus Christ! Oh, going to hell. But yeah, great car chase. Great use of the suit, I think, in terms of just like
Yeah, you're right.
first.
It's Busan.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go. Fuck you.
Racist.
Claw, I just love that he wants to play some music as he's fucking escaping. You know, the bass.
I can't say as I blame him. I couldn't have a quiet car
Car
ride like
chase.
that.
You can't do it.
Yeah. I also can't stand the product placement in this movie. Like all the cars and stuff, you know. It's like every car is like every other car is like a gray ambiguous something.
It's a Lexus. Yeah.
Yeah,
The one
but
that he's driving is a Lexus.
yeah, but you definitely see the car that he's driving on, you know, like for sure. Like I feel like at that point there might as well just be like a thing, like a ticker ad thing that reads on the. It's like buy a Lexus today. It just goes by. Like, it always takes me out of movies so much.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of like I'm not gonna say that I'm blind to that kind of shit, but I don't. It doesn't really affect me as much as it affects other people, unless it's like egregious, right?
Right.
Like unless it's Transformers: Age of Extinction, where Mark Wahlberg is literally just downing Bud Lights, like
Yeah.
in between action sequences, and I'm just like, I can't deal with this. Get me out of here. Um, but they eventually recapture Claw. T'Challa just straight up wants to kill him. Like
Yeah.
in this moment, like if it wasn't for the cameras watching, I just reckon he just would have ripped his throat out, which is kind of cool, kind of badass.
Yeah. Very, very crucial difference between him and Killmonger.
Very. By the way, um, fucking Claw's car crashing is a practical effect and looks absolutely incredible. Like it's an actual SUV that they flipped and destroyed, and just the way he shoots it is gorgeous, man. Like it looks 10 times better than anything else that comes into the rest of the movie. Yeah. It just looks like a fucking severe car wreck, and it's just like, how the fuck did you survive that, man?
Yeah, I'm glad it makes up for when she goes flying in the air and grabs the spear and rides the hood of the car down the street. I was like, oh my god, that looks awful.
Okay, it looks awful, but the
Yeah.
Kia with the steering wheel next to it just gets me
Yes.
every time, dude.
That's
Every
funny.
time.
Like, there's parts of it that I like, but it's just like, oh my god, this is so ridiculous. But yeah, that car flip hitting that thing after he takes the tire out is really fucking cool.
Fucking badass. But then we're at this, I guess, CIA black site.
Do you know who I realized? I'm so sorry. Do you know who I realized that Claw is? When he has him by the throat and he's like, I'm like he could be Alex Jones. Are you trying to kiss me on the mouth?
Sandy Hook was a hoax.
Just something about the look on his face. I was like, holy shit, I think this is... If someone told me, yeah, Andy Serkis kind of channeled some Alex Jones for Claw, I'd be like, yeah, I can definitely see it.
And for our next guest, Kanye West.
Whew, what a fucking nut, man.
Dude, I don't think I've ever seen a more steeper decline for a celebrity than
yeah, rightfully so. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, like rightfully so. I'm not saying that it wasn't It was not deserved.
Yeah, right.
But
No, I just want to double down on that. Like, we're already in agreement. Like, yeah, it's definitely earned, but it's like, no, let me bold that real quick,
dude. Let me highlight that, circle it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking nutcase, man. There's some serious mental health issues with that guy.
Yeah, man. I wish him the best, but yeah, you got to figure that shit out.
Yeah, I mean, it might have just been because Pete Davidson's got a bigger dick than him. I don't know, but who
He
knows,
got ghosted by a guy who looks, or he got beat by a guy who looks like Beetlejuice.
Right, just dead. Just a corpse. Yeah. Then we're at the CIA black site. And this is where what is Martin Freeman's character name? Everett Ross. Everett Ross. And you know what? It fucks me up because you got Everett Ross and Thunderbolt Ross.
Right.
And both of them are in the same movie in Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, are they related? There's no relation, right?
Not that I know of. Isn't that going to be Harrison Ford going further?
I don't know if that was confirmed. I think it was rumors, but I think at this point,
William Hurt also.
Rest in peace, man. I thought he was a great Thunderbolt. He was awesome. Yeah. But yeah, Everett found like he gets the hint from from Claw that Wakanda might be, there might be more than meets the eye there,
Mm-hmm.
I just love, like, it's adorable that Everett's like, no, all the vibranium's being used, like it's your little weapon there, Captain America's shield, that's all that exists. And fucking dude, Claw is just like, no, they're sitting on a fucking mountain of it, baby, don't hurt me, don't hurt me no more. He looks like he's having the time of his life,
No, yeah, absolutely. And I love the little crew that Killmonger has put together to like come and snatch him up. They do. It looks like I'm going to say it wrong. Jean Reno from Professional. It actually does look like kind of like a crew. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's sick. And he's fucking making out with one at one point, right? In the little ambulance.
The coffee barista.
Yeah.
I love. She's talking to the French guy. She's like, so what do you do? He's like, I was in the military, and I
was in GIGN.
I was a covert special ops. What do you do? I'm a barista. No, I figured that was
this is her side gig. Attacking CIA black sites is a side gig.
Yeah.
I tell you, I love the breach though, and I love that he's wearing that mask that he stole, which is sick.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. It's a good image.
Yeah.
Pulls the old Steve Rogers Black Panther does. I love that. Lands on the grenade.
Yes. Yeah, it's sick.
Pretty cool.
And it charges up his suit as well, so he manages
I love because I don't know, to me that shows that it's like this character in one moment can show me that he is almost not on the same level as Captain America quite yet, but is very close in their mentality of what to do, and would T'Challa jump on that even if he didn't have the suit? I don't know, but I think it's interesting that, like, you think about an MCU character jumping on a grenade, there's definitely a parallel there with that first Captain America.
Definitely. I mean, you wouldn't have early RDJ Iron Man jumping on a grenade,
Right.
For sure. He fires the grenade launcher at him and he goes flying. But before he does, he manages to clock the ring, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Ross takes a bullet in the back and they use a cameo bead to temporarily heal him, but they must take him to Wakanda for him to survive, right? I like that this is a risk that they need to take.
Internationally kidnapping a CIA agent. Yeah, fuck it. Go for it.
Yeah, let's do it. Wonder what kind of response that'll trigger.
Yeah, right.
There
is a super country in the woods in Africa, and they're stealing CIA agents. Hold on, my sandwich is here.
They just called Nolan, asked to borrow his nuke.
Yeah.
You want to destroy Wakanda?
What do you need my nuke for? We're gonna drop it on Alex Jones's forehead. Oh, okay. You'll need 2 to land.
And one for Kanye too while we're at it, please.
Yeah, fuck it. But yeah, I did think that was interesting. They kind of are. I don't know. To me, it's kind of you do see this in a lot of superhero movies where they're forced to kind of reveal their identity to somebody in a way, like Morgan Freeman and Batman Begins. Like there's a lot of these moments where you're basically forced to show your true identity. And I thought that was pretty fucking cool. Like the fact that they kind of get their hand forced here. And what's interesting is they're putting their trust in a world that they don't trust. There's a reason why Wakanda's closed off, and they're trusting um, Martin Freeman now to keep his mouth shut about what's really going on in Wakanda. I do think that's interesting. Like they'll trust one man, but not the whole world, kind of thing.
I think that too, and it's kind of realistic in terms of like you need to do a small dose, you need to do a small test to see how this one man will react before the world does.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it. They bring him back, and Wakabi has this conversation with I want to say Chadwick, but T'Challa,
Mm-hmm.
and Wakabi talked to before they went to Korea. Wakabi was very much of the idea that we need to kill him. Like he's gonna go.
Right.
He needs to go. And T'Challa's not about that life, right? T'Challa's like, no, we need to bring him back here. We need to arrest him. He needs due process. Um, but I like that Wakabi ends up sort of somewhat radicalized because of T'Challa's decision. You know, like it's just like this again is what T'Chaka was telling T'Challa in the ancestral plane. It's hard for a good man to be king, right? You are going to make decisions
Mm-hmm.
that is not going to impress or please everyone, and here it is with Wakabi. Wakabi is not happy that he got away, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's someone who wants immediate action. And he said,
Yes.
I thought with your father, he, would never pull the trigger on this guy. I thought you'd be different.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, and I guess this is where Killmonger executes.
Why? Why does he kill the rest of the team, and then he kills like the? Why does he kill Cloud? I didn't understand any of this.
So my understanding is that Killmonger's on a different mission than everyone else. Killmonger's on
Sure.
a yeah, he's on a revenge mission that none of his crew would be particularly on board with, especially Claw, I'd assume. Um,
I think I get
yeah.
the claw. I think I get killing claw, but I think if he turned just I don't know, maybe it's just kind of covering your tracks. Like I don't want people knowing about Wakanda quite yet.
Mm.
These people
Well,
are definitely going to
Claw
start
makes
soon.
sense because that's his gateway into Wakanda, right? Like he needs to bring them something to curry favor with Wakanda, well, especially with Wakabi, right? So like he brings them Claw, and Wakabi's like, "Oh shit, you brought me Ulysses Claw, dead.
Hmm.
This is what I wanted," and that earns him a chance to speak in the room, right? Like initially they arrest him, and then they found out that he is actually of royal descent.
Hmm.
But in terms of I agree. Like in terms of like offing the crew, there's not really that much justification there, other than this is a personal crusade. Like Killmonger might be more of like a I need to do this by myself type, which kind of like makes sense a little bit for his character.
Well, and I wonder if that's a thing of like, basically once there are people that once they ascend, they kind of just stop talking to anybody who doesn't help them ascend anymore. We've all got friends who, um, people who once they hit a certain status, kind of just stop talking to people because, they don't really need doors opened up for them anymore. Like, and I hate to say it, I've just known people like that. And I don't know if it's a thing of just burn the bridges once you make it to the other side kind of mentality. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes him a good villain, or just a villain period, is the fact that he's willing to burn those bridges so quickly.
Well, he might. I mean, like that might be the way that he's most effective, right? Like, I mean, Ross talks later about how this guy he's such an efficient killer. Like, he's such an efficient assassin, and he might, that might just be how he operates by himself.
Hmm. Right.
I'm not
His
sure.
MO. Yeah.
Right. So T'Challa confronts Zuri about the ring. Right. My father was wearing this ring when he died, and the man was wearing an identical one. My grandfather's ring. Do not tell me what is possible. And Zuri lays it out, right? Like, this is the truth. Your father killed your uncle, right? Your father killed Njobu, and he had a son. And this is the way this is shot is really tragic. I think they really make you feel for Killmonger here.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, it's ridiculous that they try to make us believe that guy from the beginning is a young Forrest Whitaker. I'm like, he's like 5 inches taller than him. Like, what did he do? Grow until he was 46? Like, like what the fuck? Um, but yeah, I do like the kind of I don't know that I don't agree with Wakanda. I agree with Killmonger. Like I don't agree with Wakanda. They're like, oh well, basically, what the reason he goes for the gun is that he knows if he comes back home to Wakanda after betraying him, he's fucked. He's I don't would they have killed him? I don't know. I don't know enough about Wakanda to know that, but it was enough that he felt like pulling a gun on his own brother. And it's like, well, then they were probably going to, I don't know, torture him, definitely brand him in the neck, like they did like Claw. I don't know. I don't agree with, for the fact that is it Njobu? Is that his uncle that he's talking about?
Njobu, yeah, yeah.
Njobu. Okay, gotcha. I didn't know if the N was silent or not. The interesting thing to me is that what he's doing, what is it essentially he's doing? He's selling the vibranium to Claw in the 90s to what? I guess money for the community of Oakland. Is that what he's trying to do?
That's my understanding. Yes.
Okay. So the
To
wrong thing for the right reasons.
right, exactly. Like his methods of going about it is not up to the standards of King T'Chaka, but like the outcome and what he's seeking to achieve is morally correct.
Right. Right. Again, I just don't. I get it. They're saying, oh, it's a betrayal. It's not about the amount of vibranium. It's like I said, they got a mountain of it. It's about the betrayal, and it's like I just don't agree with. I don't know the fact that what was going to happen to him was obviously bad enough that it was worth possibly dying and killing his own brother over. So I don't take that like lightly. And I don't know. The more and more I watch this movie, the more and more I'm like, hashtag Killmonger was right, kind of thing. Like
But I think that's by design, right? Like I don't think that we're supposed to disagree with that. That's what I think. That's what makes Killmonger a pretty compelling villain.
Mhm.
Is that you can see his point, and then you can kind of side with him because, yeah, I think there is quite a bit of like, oh shit, Killmonger was right. Like, like this is his viewpoint is actually really, really valid, and I think Wakanda needs to change. And I think T'Challa realizes that by the end, which is why you get that moment in the kind of UN conference room at the end where, hey, we are opening up our borders. We are going to do some outreach. We are going to
Well,
help.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I
No,
just
that's all
had a
right.
thought. Like, so let's say let's change this movie. Let's rewrite this. Let's start the movie from Killmonger's point of view. Let's make Killmonger our protagonist. Let's make T'Challa the villain. Let's make Wakanda the goal. And as we let's and if Killmonger's our main villain, he kills T'Challa at the end. He fights him off, and he becomes the Black Panther. What changes for Wakanda?
So,
Like the borders still get open, right?
but he's doing it out of rage. He's doing it out of revenge.
And then he kind of like rape or like kind of like pillaging like the whole landscape and shit. Like he's going to start destroying a lot of natural resources and stuff.
Well,
If I can
so
remember correctly.
he sends the weapons to I guess African American people around the world to rise up and use. Basically, he
Mm,
wants to use Wakanda's weapons, and he wants to utilize their firepower. I don't think he's there for their resources like vibranium, but like the vibranium is used in the weapons, so that's what he's there for. But I think the difference is because I think the difference between Killmonger's approach and T'Challa's approach is that Killmonger's is done out of revenge. Like
mm.
Killmonger's is done to hurt people, like to bring other people into line using force.
Right. He's more
Whereas
Scar, whereas T'Challa's more Mufasa.
yeah, that's how I see it. Whereas this is more T'Challa's approach is more aiding people rather than taking things by force. If that makes sense.
Right.
That's
No,
that's
no, that
just that's how I
definitely.
see it.
It's more Magneto than Professor X.
Yeah, exactly. It's not harmony. It's conflict.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Mm.
I feel like you could definitely redo this movie from Killmonger's point of view, and still make an extremely compelling case. For the like Wakanda's kind of corrupt in a weird little way, or at least like
It is. Yeah,
morally blind.
it is. I mean, I think the movie it touches on it. It doesn't go into it in full detail because you can't say that T'Challa or the people running Wakanda are bad guys, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's just subtext that we're picking up. But I think there's definitely the idea that they've closed their borders and they've just kind of like watched the world burn while they've thrived. I think that subtext is there in the form of subtext. Like I think that is there in terms of just like this needs to change. And by the end
Right.
of the movie, it does change.
Right.
T'Challa
Right.
does take it into a different direction.
Yeah, I dig it. I do dig all that.
Mm. Lots of politics in this movie, right? I mean, like without even being overly
Uh,
political.
a large entertainment film about an African American country full of superheroes. Come on, that's
Yeah.
not going to be political. Not going to push people's buttons at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did this win Best Picture?
No, it was nominated for Best Picture.
That's right. Okay.
It won for best score, and it won
Okay.
for
Okay.
costumes and set design, which I dig.
I think that's fair. That's
I
cool.
think it's fair too. Yeah, absolutely. Um, if she's nominated, Angela Bassett will be the first actor to be nominated for an MCU role.
Oh wow, that's really interesting.
Mm.
Hmm.
So we'll find out. I think it's in January when they announce the nominations.
Huh.
But
Yeah, I can't say, I love RDJ and stuff, but it's like, I feel like that's a movie, not like a film. It's kind of hard to think of somebody who's like, I don't know, Oscar worthy MCU performances. Never mind. Never mind. That's a whole bonus episode. Let's keep going.
yeah, this is you're
Yeah.
you're giving people things for free, Colin.
Yeah, yeah,
God damn
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I gotta
Why
milk.
would we do
I
that?
gotta milk those tits.
Right, exactly. Where are we? What are we doing? So Killmonger brings the dead body of Ulysses Claw to Wakabi to the border. And I like it because you know that Wakabi's at the border because he's part of the border tribe. Just a little like one little line at the beginning of this movie was just like the border tribe will not fight today, will not challenge today, and it's Wakabi. So it makes sense that he's at the border. Makes
Mm-hmm.
sense why he lets in lets in Killmonger in cuffs, but still, lets him in. Ross wakes up, and how long was Korea? Bullet wounds don't magically heal overnight. I do like the interplay between Shuri and Ross here, right? I mean, oh, you scared me, colonizer.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah,
great.
she's great. And Ross is just kind of like taking this in, right? Like talking about, he's admiring this mountain that they have, like this giant cavern, the Maglev trains. That's important, right?
Yeah. Setting those up.
Yes, exactly. Setting those up. Apparently, vibranium is incredibly unstable, so yeah, it's important for us to turn that off. But I
Mm-hmm.
dig it. I dig it a lot. Um, then we kind of move on to this throne room sequence. This is the big, I guess, dramatic pivot in this movie, right? This is when
Mm-hmm.
we find out who Killmonger is. I love the way that this is done, man. Like it feels chaotic. It feels like doesn't it feel like family Christmas? Like your family comes over and you're just like, what the fuck? And then there's just family drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's here to deliver justice your king couldn't deliver.
You know what? I'll
Um,
be honest. Hate the line. Hate the line. Hey, auntie. I hate it.
I don't love it. I don't love it either.
It's I don't know. Like, um, it's smarmy. It's just like, hey, I just don't like it, man. It
I
just
agree.
and I the fact that she's the one who's like, no, give me the ring. Is he really the son of Njobu? Like, she's actually the one kind of entertaining this, and I know it just kind of annoyed me that he's got this like smirk. And I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. But he's making his case, right? He's like, you're up here sitting all fat and happy while our people are struggling. Wakanda has the tools to help them all, is what he says. I want your vibranium. I want your weapons.
Well,
Tal-
and
yeah,
I like the fact that um you know that T'Challa gets his ass kicked in this fight. Maybe not so much ass kicked, but it's a bit of like Bane from Dark Knight Rises. He's like, peace has cost you your strength, victory has defeated you, and it's like you're not hungry. Like, it's kind of like the Rocky films. It's like you're not hungry anymore. Like, you
yeah,
don't feel
you're
the
comfortable.
drive. Yeah, this guy's got decades of oppression and rage and fatherlessness, and it's like he's got he has an ocean of rage to dump into you. And like, yeah, your dad died, but you weren't basically uh expelled by your own people and cast aside like nothing. And growing up in Oakland in the 90s, I guess that wasn't fucking easy, like that like this kid had such a rough life, and then you walk in and you see basically what your cousin got to live in that's rightfully yours. It's like, whew, man, that would make me fight a motherfucker. That would make me pretty damn angry.
Yeah, I think Killmonger. The difference here during this fight is that Killmonger is driven to inspire change, and T'Challa is not. He wants things to kind of like stay the same, right? So
Right.
Killmonger has, like you said, seen all these things. He's lived throughout the world, and he is driven by change. He wants to change things, and
Hmm.
T'Challa just wants things to stay the same, and that's not like that. Eventually, overcomes T'Challa. Um, I dig it, man. I dig this sequence a lot. Let's take a listen to this.
Is this your king? Huh? Is this your king?
Yeah.
Fucking T'Challa's getting beat the fuck up. But yeah, man, I dig it. I dig the humiliation as well. Is this your king? Right? This is
Hmm.
the person that you're looking up to lead you. Um, yeah, I dig it a lot.
Yeah,
It's
and,
awesome.
and I like it. I like that the Killmonger also has a bit of like the edge, because it's he's been it's a bit unfair. He's been training for this his entire life, and it's so much more personal for him than it is like T'Challa. T'Challa is dealing with A, the loss of his father, and then B, figuring out that his father just murdered his uncle is one thing, and then C, there was a child, a Wakandan, that was left behind is fucking insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Michael B. Jordan takes his shirt off and Steph just explodes next to me. He
Oh,
just
dude, like I know it would be so unrealistic and unattainable, but good lord, man, like he puts Chris Evans a bit to shame, like those pecs and like his straps leading into his shoulders. Like,
you
dude, no,
really
no,
analyze this, didn't you?
dude,
You just fucking
Mike, I have said before, I'm like, there's only a few people that if I could just clone your body, it'd be like Dolph Lundgren from Rocky Four, Killmonger in this. Like, there's only a few people that like, and it took me a long time to just. There's a very few people that I just look at how they look and I'm like, whatever, that's cool.
yeah,
But Michael B. Jordan is like, of course you're being talked about for Superman. Like, look at your
yeah.
fucking traps, dude. Like, goddamn. Like,
He's a beautiful human, man. He's a beautiful human. Like I'm also really fucking weirdly proud of him. Like, I feel like I watched him grow up. You know, he was in The Wire as Wallace in season 1. He was like a little boy. And now with Creed 3 coming out in March, he's directing. It's his first movie that he's directed, which is really cool.
We're a long way from Chronicle.
Right, we're a long way from Chronicle. Absolutely.
Well, that's what's crazy. We're not even really. We're 10 years, 11 years away from Chronicle, and just see how his career has exploded in a decade. Like, hats off, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Think about this. Chronicle, this I was forced to think about this the other day. Almost the entire MCU has started and flourished in the time between Avatar and Avatar: The Way of Water.
Oh yeah, that is true. That's a bit nuts. Yeah,
insane.
What did Avatar come out? 2011,
2009. So the only two movies that were out were Incredible Hulk and Iron Man.
Damn, that's nuts.
Yeah, insane. So Nakia wants to leave, right? She goes to Okoye. And man, again, this is something else that really makes Okoye one of my favorite characters is her duty. You know, like she needs to be a part of what's called the Dora Milaje, right? This group of female warriors who protect the king and protect the throne, and her reliance on her duty, like the need to be here, that's important to her, and I love that. I love how stalwart she is, and how how she sticks to her guns. I dig it a lot, and this choice pays off in the sequel in a big bad way. Like the decision for her to stay and unfortunately be driven by her duty and serve Killmonger. That comes back in the sequel, which I really love.
Well, yeah, and this is kind of what I was talking about. That you know, I don't know if you've ever worked at a place before that, you know, you start getting buddy with people and you get friendly, and all of a sudden it's time for everybody to work, or it's time for one of your friends who, you know, maybe is a boss and the rest of you aren't, to then to kind of lay down some stuff, be like, hey guys, we need to pick up the pace, like we need to do something. And to me, it's just kind of like the rules are there, except when it's time for them to apply to you. And that's extremely hypocritical of Wakanda. To, you know, he was beaten by, and I get it. It's unprecedented. Nothing like this has ever happened before. I get that must be a shock. But you know, this guy could be the greatest leader Wakanda's ever seen. I get it. He's scary and he's aggressive. I don't think he's winning over the People's Choice Awards or anything. But at the same time, it is kind of annoying that it's like you have this, you know, this woman who's basically a civilian talking to the most badass general of Wakanda and saying, yeah, help me overthrow the king. It's like, are you fucking nuts? This isn't a popularity contest. This is how we decide things. Like, you know, to me, that's kind of like wanting to overthrow an election because you didn't like it and being like, no, I don't like that. Let's overthrow it. And it's like, you can't do that. Like, you can't do that just because you don't like the person who won. Like, that's kind of crazy. That really blows my mind. That immediately their first thing is oh well, our friend didn't win, so we want to call a no contest. Like, nah, man, like he got his ass beat, you know. And I get whether he's the right leader for Wakanda doesn't matter. This is how you decide things, you know. Right. And at any point, I assume the throne can be challenged for again.
Again, tradition versus progress, right?
Right.
Like this is
being handicapped by this.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you challenge the throne for Wakanda at any point?
I mean, I've got no idea, actually.
I don't know.
I don't think so, because you need to be of royal blood.
Right. No, I know that. But, like, if you're of royal blood, can you just throw down the gauntlet at any time?
Well, Killmonger does, right? Killmonger pretty much does. He's like, you know, wait, let's
but just imagine a dude, like, every 4 months being like, all right, I want to do over. Be like, dude, come on, man.
Fucking Greg again?
It says it right here at the bottom, no more than 3 and a 12-month period. Like,
right. Can someone please email him out a refusal decision, please? God damn it.
Someone send him the addendum from page 148.
Look at the Wakandan Constitution, man. Just have a look, please. But yeah, I think you definitely hit the nail on the head, man. Like I think this is progress versus tradition, right? Nakia here is not bowing down to tradition. She's not going to honor the challenge ceremony, right? Like this
Mhm.
thing that these people have been doing for thousands of years. She's not going to do it because she's in love with T'Challa, right? And she probably also fears some kind of reprisal from Killmonger in terms of just like, Killmonger's just like, you are aligned with T'Challa, so now I'm going to punish you as well. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that's just speculation.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, man, Okoye just sticks to her guns, and you know what? Props to Marvel for having a character like that. Like, we
Right. Yeah.
we have our idea of Marvel characters and conventional storytelling, right? Like, you would expect Okoye to go with Nakia,
Right. Yeah.
but props to Marvel for being like, no, no, this is
Yeah.
she's gonna stick here. She's gonna stay here.
What is Idris Elba? Beowulf. What is his character's name?
Heimdall?
Heimdall, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, again,
Beowulf.
Beowulf. I don't know where that came from. I guess I was just thinking like white people folklore. Yeah, Heimdall is kind of like that a little bit to an extent in Thor. Like he is like, yeah, my position is my position, regardless
Yes.
of whether I like who sits at the throne. Like I like that. That's pretty cool. There's actually a lot of interesting parallels between Asgard and Wakanda, and being isolated from the rest of the world, but also playing directly into it and shit. Like it's pretty cool. I like the parallels between them.
I dig it a lot. Then we get this ancestral plane sequence with Eric, with Killmonger, and him sort of like speaking to his father. I like this a lot, man. Like
I love it. I love
this
it.
is fantastic. Why didn't you tell me about it?
This is probably one of the best scenes from the movie so far. Is that you actually see a moment. We've only seen what 5 scenes of Killmonger so far. So to finally see like a bit of vulnerability in that is really cool. And to just instead of just making him a total monster and just being like, oh, he just killed T'Challa for no reason, like blah blah. It's like, no, he um, he's the one who's actually kind of moving things forward, and yeah, it's like him and T'Challa eventually would end up in the same location at the end of this film, regardless of which one of them was Black Panther. Wakanda's gates would be down, things would be different, but the world would know about Wakanda, and the world would know, like, the major shifts the major brushstrokes I feel like would be the same, and the minor ones of just how they're doing it, like, and how many people they're hurting by exposing Wakanda to the world, and how they're going about diplomatic relations and international affairs and stuff like that would be very different under T'Challa versus Killmonger. But I love the dialogue here with his dad talking about, I should have taken you back there a long time ago, but I didn't, and now we're both abandoned here. Like, we're like, it's almost a bit of a creepy Red Skull, like, I'm stuck here in this ethereal plane. Like, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I dig it a lot as well. And when Njobu says that, I should have taken you back there. It just speaks to this idea of maintaining or keeping in touch with your tradition. Keeping in touch with what makes you you or makes your family you. Um, Instead of you kind of like losing your way. Like that might be that might be the worst case scenario. But I also really like that this scene makes us, the viewer, understand where Killmonger's coming from. Like this kind of like strengthens his resolve a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because this scene ends with him saying, "Maybe it's not us who are lost. Maybe it's our home that is lost." And
Mm-hmm.
oh man, I like that a lot. And he goes back to Wakanda to put Wakanda back on the right track, or so he thinks. I dig it a
Well,
lot.
yeah, I don't get the burning of the heart-shaped herb. Like, what the fuck is that going to do? Or why? Not what is that going to do, but why specifically he burns it? Just as the threat of having another king. If I burn this herb, we won't ever have a king. And it's like, I'm sure there was a dry spell. I'm sure there's some kind of addendum way back in 1385, the year of the raisin. We had to have one without the heart-shaped herb or something.
I did read it in that way. I did read it in terms of, yes, we're never going to have another king, so we don't need this, so burn it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other way that I read it was the trip to the ancestral plane scared the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, I do not want there to be any chance of me having to go back there again. And it's just kind of like just him being driven by revenge. Like, you guys made me go there. You guys made me re-experience this thing that I don't want to experience. So now I'm just gonna fuck it, destroy it, get rid of it. That's just how I read. I don't know. That's just one reading
for sure. No, I think that's accurate.
Plus, the cinematography in the back half of this movie is just gorgeous. The shot of him standing there was the flames is brilliant.
Yeah,
there's another shot that I'll get to as well later. Actually, it's the other shot is also as he enters the throne room, the upside down kind of thing. Yeah, sick.
We're seeing the hourglass turned upside down now. Like his reign has officially started.
It's brilliant. Okoye, Okoye kind of like challenges Killmonger, right? And Wakabi stands up for it. It's either the conquer or the conquered. The conqueror or the conquered. I'd rather be the former.
Right. Well, and I love that it's not, all of Wakanda is against Killmonger. Like, there's those who are actually in agreement with him.
Yes, absolutely. So the girls are the females.
Yeah.
They're at the Jabari tribe. This is the other shot also that I was talking about, is like Winston Duke holding up that staff, and it's that shot of all like the logs or something that just suspended in the air. And it's him sitting on the throne. It's just sick, man. Just really, really solid cinematography.
I love the queen with her white, the gray, the gray. I was like, dude, you look like
her
a
snow
badass.
gear, her Hoth gear.
Yeah, like, her hair, like being in those like like the white, the gray, I guess dreadlocks. It makes me think of Storm from the X-Men. I was like, you would have been a great Storm.
Oh, 100%, man, absolutely. God, I fucking love when Ross starts to speak and they just start grunting at him. Right? It's like you have no standing here. You have no cause to speak here.
Right. Who the fuck are you? I'll feed you to my kids. I'm just kidding. We're vegetarian.
Somehow I doubt that as well. I'm sure that's a joke, because there's no way you don't look like that as a vegetarian.
No, there's no fucking way he packs on. What is he eating? A lot of beans? Come on, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Fuck, he's a gorgeous human, man.
He's a big ass dude. Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah. But yeah, it turns out that a fisherman saved T'Challa. They brought him up here, and they've kept him kind of suspended in the snow. They give him we forgot to mention that Nakia stole one more heart-shaped herb before.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But that's kind of like what they feed him. He goes to the ancestral plane again. And he's kind of like reunited with his father, right?
Right, yeah. I like this this like scaled down version of this like sand pit that they put him in. Like it's not like sand, they cover him up in snow and shit. And I'm like, I just want one for like, oh yeah, wait, he didn't get the heart-shaped herb. He just suffocated to death in there.
He just froze to death.
Yeah, apparently all we did was melt some Play-Doh down in a cup and make him inhale it. It killed him.
It's literally Play-Doh.
Yeah.
But this conversation that he has with his father is brilliant. Like, now that he's armed with information that he's able to kind of like confront his father about, he's like, why did you not bring the boy home? And his father says, I chose Wakanda, man. I chose secrecy. I chose, like, we had to leave him there. That was the choice that we made. You were wrong. Oh, this is great. This is great drama, man. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Yeah, it's the sense of the fathers. It's a very interesting dynamic in storytelling.
For sure. We let the fear of our discovery stop us from doing what is right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, man. And he proclaims that no more. Wakanda will no longer do this. I will no longer do this as king. Um, yeah, it's brilliant, solid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes back, right, and this is great because T'Challa asks Njobu for help, right? He's like, I need your warriors. I need you guys. We got to come together. We got to defeat Killmonger because
Wait, he
he's not.
asked Njobu for help?
Doesn't he ask?
I thought, is Njobu his uncle?
Oh, sorry. Fuck. M'Baku, my bad.
Racist.
You know what it is? It's Njobu and Jabari.
I'll be honest. It is kind of hard for me to keep up with like a lot of in Iron Man it's Tony, Steve. Right. It's like the most cracker fucking names ever.
Yeah. But man, I love can I leave my mother here? And he's just like, no harm will come to her. I'll give you my word. Like there are things that he just doesn't joke about or he doesn't fuck around with, and I love that. I love that he's able to honor that.
Right.
Where the fuck? I guess we're just kind of like gearing up for the third, the main third act fight that you get in every superhero movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, are they technically saying the challenge was never like he was never knocked out?
Yes. So because he's still alive, right? Like the challenge was never fully completed because it's a fight to the death.
Oh, and they killed Forrest Whitaker. I think we went right past that.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Sorry Forrest.
Hope his eye gets better in heaven.
Yeah. Even it's like Joe and Family Guy. He's like, oh come on, like his legs don't work every scenario.
Yeah. Look, we can take this entire sequence as one sort of big chunk, right? I mean, they start sending the ships out to other countries because that's what he wants to do. He wants to take over the world. Well, not really take over the world, but he wants to oppress people like him with the weapons of Wakanda so they can free themselves. Which again is a noble goal, but doing it in this way is not noble at all, right? It's just hate and anger.
Yeah. No. Well, and it's also not a good idea to just like, oh, are you oppressed and pissed off? Here's a gun. Like, it's a terrible idea.
Right. Here's a weapon. Now rise up.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is great, man. This is it's kind of what we expect from the MCU at this point, right? Big war, big battle.
Sure.
A lot of the hand-to-hand stuff is awesome. I love the border tribe with their shields. It's pretty sick.
Oh yeah, well, I were they the ones in Infinity War? The ones who come charging out and fight the Chitauri?
I believe so.
Yeah, they're cool as fuck.
It's been a minute since I've seen Infinity War. It's time for me to do a rewatch, I think. Yeah, I don't know how to tackle this last sequence. How do you want to talk about
this? It's kind of I think there are a couple of things to talk about. The fact that they, I am so sorry. I get a lot of their names confused.
Who are you talking about?
Well, because she says, the challenge is not completed. You can't just go out there. You can't just order your men to kill him. And they kind of are like, well, no, I think we'll just. And it's like, yeah, okay, now you're not playing to tradition like you should be. Like you're picking and choosing when you're going to follow it. And that's the thing that I find like super hypocritical is like through a fucking loophole, basically, Killmonger was able to get in the door. And then now that he's in, he's like, well, that I think that is what really, if he were like, no, everybody stand down, he's right. This needs to end properly. Wakanda needs a proper leader, but that's not what it's not about Wakanda, and it's not about the people of Wakanda. It's about, trying to trying to right a wrong from 35 years ago, and it's like, man, you gotta let that go. You're not. Yeah, he's Magneto in the sense of like Magneto's moving that satellite dish with rage, but it's like you can't. That rage eventually just runs out. Like you need to have that peace of mind, and that's really where it's going to come from. That's what T'Challa has now, the peace of mind and knowing that once he becomes king again, he's going to make the right choices.
Yeah, I think that's pretty astute. There's no way that I can put it better than that. Yeah, Ross does his flying ship thingy, right? Because he's in the Air Force. Just typical Marvel action that we come to enjoy.
Right.
The rhinos come up out of the ground. They don't look good. I'm sorry, but they just don't.
Not great.
No,
Not great.
no. Yeah, there's good stuff here, man. This is just enjoyable. But then the crux of it is we get Killmonger and T'Challa fighting in the sort of like cavern with the trains. It feels very personal. It feels very one-on-one.
Right.
I dig it. But I love when Killmonger eventually gets stabbed, he's just like, that was a good move. That was a good move.
Yeah.
You can't help it.
Whose suit do you like more? Do you like to T'Challa or Killmonger? Yeah,
I think Killmonger's is a little too much. I think there's a little more. There's a lot going on there.
I like the gold. I like the gold a lot more than the purple.
Yeah, I do like the gold. I don't know. I actually, I'll tell you what. I guess spoiler. I really like Shuri's suit in the sequel. I think
it looks okay. It's different.
It looks very cat-like, which is cool. I'm gonna. I could not play this scene. This is Killmonger's death scene.
Oh yeah, go for it.
And I think it's incredibly profound, especially for a Marvel film. So here we go.
It's beautiful. Maybe we can still heal you. Why? So you can just lock me up? No. Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships. Because they knew death was better than bondage.
Yeah, and then he dies. Man, just again, profound. This is someone who, until his death, even to his death, never changed his mind. He never swayed. There was no I'm going to convince you why you're wrong. It's
right.
It's just I am committed 100%, even when he died. Which I thought was a solid decision, man. Like this is if you want to use the word radicalization, you can use it, but this is someone who 100% totally believed in his cause.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
Which is sometimes some of the most dangerous people, right?
Yeah, to like the dying breath, Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of Killmonger. There's not really much else to talk about.
I just don't feel like there's anything we missed, really. Like they basically open up the borders of Wakanda. They pull an I am Wakanda, I am Iron Man kind of thing.
Right.
Which I think is cool.
I do like the last scene, which is them going back to Oakland, where which is pretty cool because it's like T'Challa's just straight up like, yeah, I bought that building and that building and that building, and it'll be the first Wakanda outreach station or building, which is appropriate because it's what sparked it's the place that really sparked Wakanda becoming this place of openness.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I really dig it. It's really solid. And then you got the kids with the ship, and yeah, it's cool, man. Cut to black. There we go. Black Panther.
Do they talk about Killmonger at all in the sequel, or is he just totally forgotten about?
Okay, so this is going to be a spoiler. So if you haven't seen Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, skip ahead maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So Shuri, when she becomes the Black Panther, takes the heart-shaped herb.
Mhm.
She goes to the ancestral plane, and she is presented with Killmonger. She's not presented by her father. She's not presented by Chadwick Boseman. It's Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, and he's the one who guides her.
That's cool.
Because she's kind of going through something very similar that he is in this movie, and that is rage and revenge, and being angry at the world.
Right.
And he gives her advice that kind of like sets her on her path to being someone better, but they never belittle his character in this.
That's
It's
cool.
Yeah, it's really solid. It's actually really well handled. I've only seen it once. I really do want to see it again. But yeah, I thought it was really, really well handled.
I will say, if I do have to level a criticism at this movie, is it does feel like Killmonger's reign is about 14 hours. It feels like basically he becomes king, and then they're like, nope. And I don't know how I feel about that. I almost wish Killmonger had taken over, like how Scar takes over Pride Rock for basically the whole movie. It's like, and the downfall of the Pride Rock is so severe because you see how great it is when it flourishes under a rightful and just king. So that's one thing I didn't really love, is that I felt like Killmonger's time was just short. But I guess for the purposes of the movie, it just had to be that way. But solid movie.
Yeah, I think it's a great movie. It changes with me on every watch, just in terms of things that I discover. So I really, really dig it. 2 end credit sequences. So one we already mentioned was was them going to the UN and announcing that Wakanda is opening its borders and it's going to be reaching out, which is in line with the themes of the movie. And then the last scene is the White Wolf, right? Sebastian Stan returns as Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
We saw at the end of Captain America: Civil War that he was being held here for recovery. Crazy ass white boy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me read a couple of listener comments. So thank you so much for commenting, guys. So we didn't renew our call for comments for this episode on this recording, but I have a couple of older comments from when we announced this episode initially. So I'm going to go ahead and read Patrick Harrington's comment. So thank you so much, Patrick. He says, Black Panther is easily top 5 MCU movies for me. Chadwick Boseman was perfect casting for the part. I think Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger was just as perfect casting and one of the best villains in the entire MCU. Doesn't hurt that he's insanely gorgeous. Boseman's death was one that actually hit me pretty hard, but he leaves a great film legacy behind, with this probably being his biggest contribution. I also love the score and the costume design in this. The various Wakandan tribes with their distinct looks is very cool to see on screen. Yeah, man, I 100% agree. I echo that 100%. Like, this is Boseman's biggest contribution. And he'll always be that character. Like there
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of outcry when people were like, who are you going to find to replace, T'Challa? And I think Coogler made a good decision in terms of not replacing the character, but kind of giving him a pretty appropriate send off in that sequel. So, yeah.
Sure, yeah, kind of retiring him, I guess.
Yeah. Do you have any comments pulled up, or do you want me to?
No, I didn't get any pulled up in time.
That's all right. I'll go ahead and read the other one. So Danielle Cutter, thank you both Green Room members. Love you guys. Danielle says, I know this is going to sound cliche AF, but Black Panther is more than just a superhero movie. It surpassed the genre and gives us something that no other superhero movie has done before and probably will ever do again. I'm not going to wax poetic because I can't say it's any better than anyone, because I can't say it any better than anyone else. But I will say that it is a kick-ass movie with an incredible performance from Chadwick Boseman, a talented and remarkable man we lost way too soon. I haven't seen part 2 yet, but I'm excited to see where the franchise will go. But the first one will always stand alone in terms of what can be achieved when talented individuals are allowed to make meaningful work, especially in a genre that is so far-reaching and is consumed by so many. Great movie, and I'm excited to hear coverage. And she asked the question, actually. She said, again, haven't seen part 2. Who would you want to see as the next Black Panther? Without hesitation, for me, it's M'Baku. Without hesitation. I want to see what that guy can do. Not only physically in the role, but just in terms of his ideals, right? The separation, the like him kind of being a part of this Jabari tribe and living in I'm not going to say exile, but separation, separate from the other tribes. I want to see what that brings to the throne and how he's going to integrate the Jabari into the rest of Wakanda if he does. Plus, he's hilarious. Plus, he's fucking beautiful to look at.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah,
and he seems to know the tradition of. I think he would be somebody that can kind of please the people that are needing like progress, and then people who are also wanting to adhere to tradition at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely agree. Do you have a pick?
I would have to say M'Baku or I don't know. I mean, I guess they do allow female Black Panthers, and I know that, obviously I don't think, is it a spoiler to say who's Black Panther and Black Panther 2? I think that's pretty much known, right?
No, I don't think it's a spoiler. I'm just going to go ahead and say that it is Letitia Wright as Shuri.
Right. It would be, I mean, obviously a great point, great pick, but I'm sorry, the Michonne. I was like, dude,
Okoye.
Okoye, thank you. That I think Okoye would probably be the best fit, only because of her strict adherence to the duty of like, I will turn a dagger on you if it means doing it for Wakanda. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. Well, man, that's it. That's Black Panther. I'm glad we got that on the board. It's only been ruminating for nearly 3 months, so but no, I think it is one of the stronger MCU movies. It brings up things that aren't brought up in any other MCU film, and it handles them pretty well. The action sequences are solid. The performances are outstanding, particularly from Chadwick, Denai Guerrera, and Winston Duke. I thought those three fucking killed it. And Michael B. Jordan, of course. But it's a beautiful movie to look at. It's a beautiful movie to listen to. The soundtrack is amazing. I mean, it won an Oscar for fuck's sake. I think it's definitely top tier MCU for me. So
hell yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad we did too. It's a good movie. It's solid. I guess now I need to go find or need to go watch the second one. I got a lot of movies I need to watch.
Yeah, the second one, like I said, is good. I think it was just a hair too long. It's 2 hours 45. It's a long bitch.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they got a lot of ground to cover with his passing and then trying to set up the new thing.
Sure.
Like, if that means a longer runtime, I'll give them that. That's cool.
Sure, absolutely. But I mean, why can't it be stupid? Why can't it be fucking shorter?
Why not, you stupid bastard?
I fucked up that setup because I was reading it. I was like, why not, you stupid bastard? And I was like, fuck, I fucked it up.
Like, it would almost serve them to do like a Disney Plus thing. Like, hey, we're going to do like an hour-long short film about how the power transitioned from Shuri over to T'Challa, and then when you go see the movie, it'll make more sense, and it kind of will like make you go to Disney Plus. I know that's like evil corporate mindset, but that's what I would do.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are turned off by having to watch the TV shows and then going to the movies to get context from the TV shows.
I mean,
but they're not that connected, really.
I mean, except for something maybe like WandaVision, stuff like that is, I think, but that was kind of a first experiment. I wonder if they're still going to lean as heavily into them.
Right.
But, you got anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, that's it, man. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting us throughout the year. Like I said in my little diatribe at the beginning of the show, It's been amazing, man. This has been our 4th year of Midnight Double Feature. We're excited to jump into our 5th year in March. Yeah, man. No signs of slowing down. I'm really keen to see where we're going.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been getting a lot of great feedback from people. We've seen like a lot of nice reviews. Even though we haven't put an episode out in 2 months, our download numbers have still stayed pretty strong, which is interesting, even without putting out new content. So just somebody's going and downloading those, and it ain't me. So I really appreciate it if you guys are listening to this and you're supporting the show, even when we're not being 100% active with it. But it really does mean a lot. And again, you can always go to patreon.com/midnight double feature and join the green room. It's $5 a month. Or you can check out our reviews. You gotta go and scroll down on your Apple podcast and leave us just 5-star reviews. It really helps out a lot.
Yep, absolutely, man. Absolutely well said. Well, we're going to jump off here and go ahead and record some Breaking Bad. So if you are inclined, go check out some Bad Crystal Breaking Bad podcast, and we'll see you guys next year. Hope you guys have a great new year. Hope you're bringing in 2023 with some drinks, some food, some family, some great company, and we will see you next year. Thanks so much for listening, guys.
Bye.